Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today this is a little bit of a discussion really. This is one of those times where I'm looking to you, the community, the subscribers, to help me with a little bit of head fuzz that I've got going on. Now, there has been a lot of interest and a lot of questions that have been going backwards and forwards on Instagram, because you can follow me on Instagram now. I'll put the link for you underneath. Twitter, the TTL Facebook page and the forums. And it's been Orca 2, basically. People want to know when I am going to be replacing the old girl, or a lot of people seem to think I'm going to upgrade the old girl. So essentially, as far as upgrading her is concerned, really all I've done since I've built her in the first place is change the power supply. It's now got an RM in there, and that's just because it's quiet. The AXIs, when you first turn them up, they spin really loud. This is just quiet all the time, and I have to say, where it's a 1000, I've never seen the fan spin. But anyway, it's not a sales pitch. I've taken the STX Zonar, the STX2 Zonar STX2 out, because I'm now running a Creative DAC, and these are Creative EMU speakers that I've got up here on some funky stands, and I've got the limited edition DAC. So really that's all that's changed since I first built her. When I did build Orca, the whole premise of the build was the fact I didn't want to, and I didn't want to, I haven't got the ability of some of these massive, crazy, talented modders, you know, that can make things with their hands and, you know, do everything, and it's absolutely just mind-blowing, and they just sink all of their spare possible time into making these builds amazing, like Sneff, like Peter Brands, like BNEG. They're the people that I kind of look up to. And I still do, even back to the older days where we would have had Cooler Meister that was pumping out just crazy stuff. I mean, Grandad, as I would call him, used to bang out just some absolutely mind-blowing stuff that you wouldn't even believe wasn't made on a machine, and the old guy had done it all by hand. But anyway, so with this, it wasn't all about that, and it was meant to have been kind of understated, but it was the type of build that when you looked at it, each time you look back, you'd find something different. Like the whole thing is put together with nuts and bolts. And just in case you're wondering, I uploaded the first video on Orca in August 2012. It's like coming up to being 4 years old. The poor old girl needs retirement. But anyway, so it's like the whole thing was put together with nuts and bolts. But all the work that I did was done with a Dremel, with a jigsaw, with a drill. It was all really simple stuff. And I do get a lot of quips where people, when I do a build like with the server, they're like, oh, you know, anyone could have done that. That's kind of meant to be the point. You know, I haven't got the time, and I haven't got the ability to be able to do this crazy stuff. So I'm just trying to inspire those home modders out there that want to do something of a weekend, or do something, you know, in the odd evening when they get home from work. Because to be honest with you guys, that's the type of person that I am. Just something to give you a little bit of a break. So the whole point about this video is I've been looking for a case for a long time that I could see something in that I could do, but make it different. And in the respect of, I'd like to keep it looking standard. When I did the server build, yes, it's a Fractal, but it's not meant to have 10 hard drives. It's not meant to have 3 fans in the front. But I used all Fractal parts, and I wanted to try and keep it looking stock. So that's kind of the idea with this. Although now that I've started to kind of rip things apart and look at it, now I'm thinking about powder coating it different colours, so it's going to end up looking different anyway, I think. And my problem is I need some input from you guys. So, like when you would go down the pub with a mate and you'd have a chat about this type of thing, I don't get a chance to do that because none of my mates give a monkeys about computers. So I need to rely on you lot. So that's what this video is about. So this is the current setup, but now really we need to go and see where my head is stuck on a specific case. And the case that I've kept coming back to has been the Corsair 600C. Now, before the people start going on about Corsair case, do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I have been using a Cooler Master case for the last 4 years. And I have been looking for another case that kind of sparked off something inside me that made me want to do something with it. When I used the Striker before, I saw the fact that I wanted to turn the vents on the side into solid state drive mounts. The roof, I could see that I could get a 360 in there and I could mod that handle. It was all little things like that, like the optical bay cage and the hard drive cage. I cut all of that out. So I saw these little things that I could do, and it just sparked a little bit of something inside of me that made me want to do something with it. Now the Corsair 600C, when it first come out, or when it come out, it's inverted and you've got the radiator at the bottom, and I didn't particularly like that. Now I'm a big fan of the NZXT H440, and it's the only case I've ever given the white gold award to. I liked the vents in the front, I liked it was kind of smooth, and to be honest with you, when this come out I was almost a bit disappointed, because it did look like Corsair had kind of purposely avoided making their own one. It's the best way I can explain it. They didn't have the extended roof, and they kind of inverted it just so that it kind of hid the questions of, you could have done that, and I personally think that's where the design inspiration came from, but they just kind of, by flipping it over and doing all this stuff, they actually took away from what could have been a much better case. And that is where my that was where the spark was for me, because I thought they could have done something better with that. So that case there is without the front on it and without the roof panel on it, because it's over here. But essentially that was my original review sample. And the poor thing, when we were doing all the work here, it was sat here in a box, so it's absolutely covered in plaster dust. But anyway, so I had an idea of what I wanted to do with that case, and the fact that they're round that way, you might get a little idea about it. This is another one which I've bought, yes, and essentially the thought in my head is, that's the way it is and I didn't like it. So what I want to do is flip the case around. Now with that, it then brings loads of problems, because the grill is meant to be on the floor and it won't be. So my idea was to take a front panel and then mod it so that I could have it on the roof. We'll still have a normal front panel there, and then the roof panel with the nice curve and stuff on it, it will go on the top still, so we'll still have the nice curvy lines on the case. So my idea is, for want of a better term, and it's something that they're not going to like me for saying, but I want to make a Corsair NZXT kind of H440, 600, 440 thing. So it's going to be a Corsair case, but it'll look a lot like a H440. Now, there's a lot that needs kind of doing with this, because it's messing around with standard parts, and it's going to mean filing lots of bits, cutting bits of plastic filler, and it's all those little niggly, yes, that's the word, niggly, filing and sanding bits that have got me worried, to be honest with you, because I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make it look clean enough. The idea in itself, and like the metal work and stuff on the inside, it's not too much of a problem, and although there are even more issues that we would have to do within the fact that where the door will be the other way up, the door can then literally just slide off. So I have to find a way to, it's doing it already, have to find a way to stop the hinges, because we can't put them around the other way, and there's lots and lots of little jobs that would need doing that are proper pain in the bum, basically. So like for argument's sake, with the doors, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll probably end up like cutting bits of the hinges or something and trying to tap on to this bit here, but I've got a funny feeling where it's quite hard steel, it's probably going to spin. And anyway, lots of stuff like that would need to be done, and that's without the fact that I've got to try and make the this hasn't got mounts in it, this hasn't got vents in it, there's no vents in the side, so I'd end up having to drill these out and file them to make vents, and there's a lot of work. It's never going to be a 5-minute job. Now, the problem with the fact that I know it's not going to be a 5-minute job is the fact that I'm now starting to think to myself, are you biting off a little bit more than you can chew? And that's fair enough, do you know what I mean? The e-tailer that I bought this off of, if I send it back nice and lovely, then I'm sure I could probably get a refund, because I've not actually used it or built it or anything like that. It's just come out of the box. Although I would be honest, don't think I'm going to do an Amazon like you lot would do. But anyway, so I genuinely, I'm properly stuck because I like the idea of doing it. I know a lot of you are going to say, why don't you just use the H440? But it's not quite big enough. Only just though. If it was a little bit longer and a little bit taller, I would have used it. With this, the idea would be, I'm probably going to end up using the new X99 boards that are just around the corner. That would make sense. And then put a 360 radiator in the roof. The front radiator would totally depend, because I could either use a 240 in there, or and if I used the 240, it would mean I would be able to keep the stand in here, which is basically like a power supply cover, but I'd end up making a new power supply cover around that frame, and we'd have a 240 in there. Or I rip the power supply cover out altogether and drop a 360 in there. If I drop a 360 in there, then that means I can use the same sort of long stand-up tubular reservoir that I used in Orca, rather than having to hide stuff underneath. It's multi-layered. But essentially, I mean, let's face it, if I end up doing this, I'm going to be making videos about this for quite a few months, because I'll never be able to get it all done in a couple of weeks. So if I was going to invert the inverted 600C and make the Corsair C440, or whatever you ended up wanting to call it, would that be something that you lot would actually like to see? Or should I just be quiet now and just either get on with this, or just build a standard thing, which is going to be a bit boring on my desk? Because I like I said, I really don't know. When it comes to things like the front and top though, and this is why I said I want to keep it kind of stock looking, but as soon as I start filing and gluing and filling the plastic, it's going to need painting, which means I'm going to have to take the metal off, and it would seem a bit daft and a bit of a missed opportunity for me to do that and then not pick out colours. So then that's when it goes from looking like a 600C to looking like something totally different, because obviously then I'm going to want to go white powder coat on the inside, and would I do the plastic, would I paint that red? Because if I painted that red, then we've got it looking like my red and white H440, which would be great. Then that means the metalwork that goes on the top, that would have to be white, and I could do that, and I could also get a whole new bit of metalwork made to wrap all the way round, and that could look amazing. But it's all it's scary. It's been years since I've actually done, and I will call it a project, because I think it's a bit offensive to call it a mod. It's a bit of a project. It's something to keep whittling away at. But yes, let me know what you think. This is where my head is at the moment. I do like the idea of the vents down the side and a nice clean front and top ATX, but to be honest with you, I have looked around and I can't find another case that's really kind of like grabbing me in the same way. I have to say though, if NZXT had made a, for argument's sake, 640 with a bigger side panel window, then I probably would end up using that and then just doing like minor cosmetic kind of paneling and stuff on the inside, rather than going down this route. So this is the one where I challenge myself, and we all get to laugh when it doesn't come out the way I want it at the end of it, and we just suck it off. Or collectively, we start looking for a different case and start discussing things. Now, I will keep an eye on the comments underneath, as I always do, but this would be a really good thing for us to discuss on the forum, so that we can post pictures better and have a proper full-blown discussion. But then also with the discussion, rather than me replying to one post, it's replying to everyone collectively. Now, again, this is obviously going to end up going on Facebook, but again, click the link, come through to the forums, we'll have a proper good chat there, because then also what we can do is, the way that it's laid out is we can actually go and see the previous conversations a lot better, whereas with Facebook in a month's time we won't know what's been said, and it's really hard to find posts. But anyway, so that's the thought process that's going on at the moment. Would love to hear your thoughts. Essentially, think about this as, in the end, ending up being a 600C re-inverted, painted white with red bits on it as well, and then lots of paneling and stuff on the inside, depending on what size radiators and stuff that I'd want doing. Now, is that a terrible idea? And should I be looking for something else? Or is that just a, Tom, you're a nutcase, yeah, let's just get on and do it, shut up talking all the time kind of thing? I don't know. Again, hardware, it's going to be new X99. It's definitely going to be Pascal SLI. I would assume it's kind of where my head's towards going at the moment. The most strenuous thing this thing it will end up doing is probably rendering videos. But, you know, with I want it to look pretty. That's the most important thing. So I'm going to sit by the side of it. It has to be obscenely quiet, like really quiet. And then yeah, look really nice. So we're probably going to end up getting some lighting in there, maybe some EL panels, really don't know. But let me know what you think, and I'm going to leave it there. So for now at least, this is Tiny Tom Logan with a bit of a head scratcher, out. And now I need my remote. Look, it's here, look. Boo!